We are recording. This is Liverpool Studios 2. Oh, no, is it 1? Liverpool Studios 1.
I don't really know. It's Spray Studios West, isn't it? It's Spray Studios West. I'm in Spray Studios East. Hello, listeners. My name is Ricardo Autobahn.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jenny McLaren, and I sing in a band called Spray.
Yes, we are the pop group Spray, and we are here making a podcast to celebrate 1,000 years in show business. We're celebrating our 1,000 years in show business by making a bunch of remixes which are coming out this summer. And we thought it might be fun if we wandered down memory lane, chatting about yesteryear.
Although it has been 1,000 years, so it's going to be quite difficult to remember anything.
Yeah, this is the problem. We thought it might be an interesting podcast because we've got lots of interesting stories about our wacky career, which took us from being pop stars to being ex-pop stars to being pop stars again, and all sorts of crazy things have happened. But the problem is we can't really remember what happened.
No, none of it.
The point is, you may be listening to this before the songs come out, you may be listening to this after the songs come out, but on the 23rd of May, we are releasing our first remix EP, and the songs on it are The Movie of My Life is an FX Showreel, I Kill With My Car, and Queen of Summer.
Queen of Summer.
So we thought, let's look back and see if we can remember anything about any of those songs, and, you know, maybe a diversion into a pop anecdote or two. We'll start with I Kill With My Car, because that's the oldest.
Is it?
Forever on tarmac, grip the wheel, cold chrome heartbeats, stainless steel. Come on, baby, take that step in front of me and certain death. I kill with my car.
Out of those ones.
It is.
I always forget which ones occurred at which time. I like Kill With My Car.
That's brilliant. What a great
start. That's a good start, isn't it? Excellent reminiscing there.
In 1999, we were called the Cuban Boys, and
yes.
We were making records on the John Peel show, and we were doing Peel sessions and Radio 1 sessions, and we were doing all sorts of crazy crackpot things. And at the end of the year, we had a big novelty hit.
We did.
At the same time as this, we were writing real songs, proper songs, that nobody was really interested in. One of which was I Kill With My Car. And it was on the shortlist to be a Cuban Boys song at some point, I seem to remember.
It was, wasn't it? I was just going to say that. Because it is a bit more, it's a little bit angrier than a normal Spray song.
It's very fast. That's the thing about it.
Fast.
It was a Helen Love influence at the time.
Yes.
I think we'd done a bunch of Helen Love remixes of Does Your Heart Go Boom? And I think we were in that kind of extraordinarily fast mindset when we wrote it. But as of that, it didn't make any headway as a Cuban Boys song. But then 2 years later, we were on Ninth Wave Records in the States, and we put it on Living in Neon, the first Spray album. Any memories, Jennifer?
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, Living in Neon. We'd done CDs, obviously, before and had our stuff out because it was Cuban Boys and all that kind of stuff. But it was quite nice to have a Spray CD that was actually on a record label and proper. Do you know what I mean?
Jenny and I, being siblings, had been making Spray records under assorted names since we were children. Maybe we'll dig out a few of those old cassettes from the mid-90s. So, you know, Spray was in existence in some form or another before the Cuban Boys was.
True.
But I can't really think of anything about I Kill With My Car, other than we got our first controversy about it. Somebody complained about it online, and back in 2002, before social media existed, before it became so toxic. That was quite unusual.
Did we get cancelled?
We did not get cancelled, but somebody said it was in very poor taste to do a song called I Kill With My Car.
It is a bit.
But yes, but the point is we can't really remember anything about I Kill With My Car, so we dug it out of storage. We played it live once at our very first gig. You know, Spray had been around since the 90s, as we just explained, but we didn't play live until 2018. And at our first ever gig, we did actually perform it. It didn't sound very good, so we've never done it since.
I thought we'd changed up the set list and put it on a later, when we were trying to mix it up a bit after we'd done like
Mix
three
it up a
gigs.
bit?
Yeah, after we'd done like loads of gigs, like 3 or something.
It was about 3 years later, this.
I definitely remember doing it live in this past like 7 years or whatever it is we've been gigging.
Well, yeah, we did the first gig, and I don't think it went down particularly well. It went down well. Everybody loves it because everybody loves us and everything we do. But I don't think it sounded very good.
Maybe in its new resprayed form, it might.
Well, yes, we should maybe play it at one of our forthcoming gigs. Details below or something.
To follow.
We can't remember where they are.
No.
But yeah, we continued then. The Cuban Boys went down the pan a bit after that, and Jenny and I continued making records with our good friend Daz Sampson. Most of the days were spent with him coming up with crazy ideas, and me and Jenny trying to realise those crazy ideas. And one of those crazy ideas was Rhinestone Cowboy. 2002, we had been tinkering with some songs, and me and Daz came up with a Europop rap version of Rhinestone Cowboy. During the same sort of time, we started writing a song called Disco Mode. Gradually became a song called The Story of My Life is an FX Showreel.
I'd forgotten it was called Disco Mode to start with.
I looked in the studio files that we've got, and the first ever saved file is called Disco Mode. Now, we hadn't put out Living in Neon at that point, but we were dicking around with Daz Sampson. So, whilst he was off doing sort of other things, we were preparing a second album, which eventually came out in some form as Children of a Laser God. There's a guitar sample in The Story of My Life is an FX Showreel. Da 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 da. And that was a sample that had come free with the sampler we bought for the Cuban Boys, and we made the whole song around that. I've some notes here which say the title was possibly nicked from an article in SFX and developed into a lyric about the crassness of showbiz celebs such as Jerry Halliwell and Elton John.
Aww.
This is the beauty of us, you see. We write satirical songs that work with celebrities of yesteryear, and then 23 years later, the same celebrities are still around, and the song makes just as much sense as it ever did.
Yes. So, but obviously, when we recorded it, we didn't record it. We've remixed, haven't we? We've resprayed it.
Yeah.
It was originally The Story of My Life is an FX Showreel, which obviously it flows really nicely and it scans nicely. But then we were kind of like, as you listen to it more and more, you're like, it's not really the story, is it? It's your movie. Because it's an FX showreel.
Stories don't have special effects. Movies have special effects.
And stories don't have showreels. Showreels are designed to go with movies. Hence...
We did it all wrong. We're not afraid to say when we did it all wrong. They're not sacred tracts cast in stone. This is...
They are not.
These are fluid and malleable pop songs. So Jennifer went into the studio at great expense.
It took
she went into
hours.
Air Studios. She went into Montserrat. She rebuilt Montserrat Studios from the ruins. Went in and recorded the single word movie. But you also recorded the harmonies for the word movie as well.
I did. Listeners, it took hours, years even. It was so difficult. But I did it just for you so that the song would now make more sense. In its new form. Yeah,
so she sang the word movie, and we've sort of spliced it together with sort of spirit gum and seltzer. And, you can't spot the joint.
You can't. You don't know.
It's not just a modern remix of an old song; it's a reinterpretation of an old song. We've updated it to be the plot it should have been in the past.
Oh, okay.
It's everything it should have been in yesteryear.
Yes.
The movie of my life is an FX showreel. Out of context, most of it don't seem to make much sense. The movie of my life is an FX showreel. Studio enhancements flatter everyday events. I explode into light. Million stars every night.
We've got a few studio dates. Space Studio East then, as it was. Jenny's in Space Studio West now.
I am.
But back then there was only Space Studio East.
Spray has expanded and got bigger over the years.
We will not go Spray Studio South though. That we will never.
Never.
We will never head south. But
Never.
The idea of putting something up in Scotland is well mooted. The point is, we've got copious studio notes for these things. We continued recording it through March of 2002. A few more mixes, bit of vocal tweaking in April, and then it was sort of left for about a year until 2003, when we got a call from somebody from the enigmatic Lucky Pierre Records, who wanted to do a compilation of synth pop called Robo Pop Volume 1. Do you remember this?
Lucky Pierre.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that? It was like a white.
No.
It was a white CD with a sort of it had a robot on the front, I think to recall. But it was a bunch of the usual suspects of the time. They asked us for a song for that, and I deliberately picked this one out because of the stupid long title, because it would make us stand out on the track listing. That is a lot of this is a bit of insight into the world of Spray. We do stupid long titles so that we will kind of stand out. It goes back to the Cuban Boys days with the song Cognoscenti versus Intelligentsia. I always thought it'd be funny to see that written down in the Guinness Book of Hit Singles, in years to come, people will be flicking through the Guinness Book of Hit Singles, looking at these old records and think, what the hell is that? What's that all about? I don't understand. That's mental. These people are mad.
Yeah.
I seem to remember thinking they'd make us change it.
Oh, what, CVI?
Yeah. I thought, I'll call it Cognoscenti versus Intelligentsia. Well, the assumption that somebody would make us change. We had such a cynical opinion of the music industry, and the MI in particular, that we thought that some head honcho would come down on us like a ton of bricks and make us call it the hamster dance, and that would be it. I had no belief whatsoever that they'd let us keep the title.
But they did a bit, because I was just going to say, because it would be nice to see Cognoscenti versus Intelligentsia on top of the pops, wouldn't it? Like when you get the chart rundown. But actually, in my head, I think it was C. I think they put C versus I on the screen.
Oh, did they?
But I'm not sure now. I can't remember. But
cowards.
But no, because they were always on at us to have more hamsters, weren't they? Got to have a hamster in the video and got to have a hamster on the cover and everything. And we were all like, no, and then go on then.
Yeah, but they could have forced us to do it, and they never did.
Yeah.
I remember,
That's true.
We sat in the studio in Wales, and the man from EMI came down and suggested we dress up in hamster suits to go on.
Yes.
Was it some party in the park somewhere?
Oh yeah.
Capital FM party in the park. We made it very clear that was not what we're about. Nowadays, if I could go back now, I'd do it. I'd do that. I'd dress up as a hamster and do Capital Party in the Park. We'd call the single the Hamster Dance song. Yeah. And we'd get to number one. And we'd probably have more of a cultural
impact.
Yeah, everybody's forgotten us.
Well, they have, until you remind them.
Yeah, I don't want to have to remind them. I want to be sauntering on the street. People go, hey, it's the Cuban Boys. It's happened once.
Yeah. And that's because you just played a gig.
That's because I played a gig the night before.
And didn't you have a Cuban Boys t-shirt on as well?
No, I don't regret anything about what we did, the way we went about it back in the day. But once we'd actually got that platform, we should have used it better than we did.
Yeah, we could have done more with it.
Well, maybe we'll come to this in a future podcast, the fact that the follow-up single to Hamster Dance was a terrible, terrible choice.
Yes, but again, they wouldn't let us choose what we wanted.
Wouldn't they?
Didn't we? Well,
I thought we chose that.
Well,
my memory is that we.
I think we either. Did we decide? Because it was either Kenny, but then was that too similar? Because I think the record company would have been happy with Kenny, wouldn't they?
I think they would have, and I think I would have as well. But it would have needed remixing.
Re-recording.
Yeah.
And Self-Esteem was another one but then it was like we don't want to be seen as a novelty band. That was the problem.
We should have just been seen as a novelty band.
Yeah, we didn't really care that much.
But we didn't know that at the time. We didn't know that
at the
time.
Hindsight is a marvellous thing.
Anyway, the Cuban Boys are back now. So if a major label does want to sign us and make us a novelty band, in our old age, we'd be more than happy with that.
Yeah. We'll do out now.
So The Story of My Life is an FX showreel, a stupid long title, came out on the Robopop compilation on Lucky Pierre. And then it also came out on the I Am Gothic remix project, because in 2002, Living in Neon had come out, the first Spray album, and went so well. I believe the biggest selling album ever on Ninth Wave.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Big time.
Upwards of 10 copies. It went so well, they did this mega remix EP thing. There was ended up being this great epic CD. But we thought, instead of just putting all the remixes of one song, which would be tedious, we'll put some new songs on. And the songs were It's All in the Drums.
Oh, yeah.
Whiz for Atoms.
Yeah.
And Story of My Life is an FX showreel, which was mastered for this version by Brian Hazard in California and is a better master than the one on Robopop. It's exactly the same recording, it just sounds better on the Gothic EP than it does on Robopop. Any thoughts on Whiz for Atoms?
Have we done that one?
Whatever.
Wiz for Atoms. No, have we done Wiz for Atoms as a remix on one of the things?
No, but we've got a remix of It's All in the Drums on the boil for possibly Volume 2 or Volume 3 of the Respray EPs.
I like
which
that.
I think is a very good song.
It's great.
It's a very commercial song. It's us trying to be normal and commercial So 2004, the Barn Dance Boys had been and gone. Maybe we'll talk about that at greater length, because it is essentially a Spray record with Daz rapping in it, is the Barn Dance Boys, and it was a top 32 hit. We'd done that in 2003, as well as The Story of My Life as an FX showreel. In 2004, Daz was doing the Uniting Nations stuff now, so we were still kicking about, working with Daz.
Obviously inspired by the Barn Dance Boys in United Nations stuff.
Very much so.
It was a natural progression from Barn Dance Boys.
He didn't seem to mention it a great deal in any interviews. I don't recall that Daz had been part of the Barn Dance Boys when he was talking about his mega-selling club hit of 2004-5. But the point is, what was the point? No, the point is we were still doing things with Daz. He was coming around all the time, and we were sort of making these pop records. We did a song called Flying Highs, Philo Beddo.
Oh yeah, Philo Beddo. That was quite good.
That came out in Spain and was a big club hit there. So all these things we were doing, but he was also involved with Uniting Nations. That gave us time to sort of tinker with our own songs as we did. So the idea, Children of Laser God was sort of in the works at this point, and we recorded the song Queen of Summer. Yeah, Daz was supposed to be coming round, but he couldn't do it because he was busy with Uniting Nations. So we put down a vocal on Queen of Summer on the 8th of July 2004.
They see her through the heat haze, slightly out of reach, perennially flawless, effortlessly discreet. The boys in motion on the surf out to impress, but she just watches ticking off the boxes in her head. She's a queen of summer. She's the queen of summer.
Then after the weekend, we had a drive to Safeway and to the post office to post a parcel for Debbie's new baby. 12th of July 2004. Which of Debbie's babies was that?
That baby was Ethan. I'm not sure. Am I allowed to say his name on telly? Because this summer he'll turn 21. Key at the door and all that.
Of course he will. Well, we're not giving out his address or anything, are we?
No, that's true. He's a grown man. And then he was a baby.
But the day you posted that present for young Ethan, having just been born, we recorded the harmony part of Queen of Summer when we got back. So this entire remix EP is a tribute to Ethan, really, isn't it?
Tribute to Ethan. I'll get him a copy. I'll have to force it into his hands. Not sure he's a very big Spray fan.
No.
He has been to our gigs though.
That's why he's not a big fan.
If you are one of the people who come to Spray gigs, you may well have seen Ethan in our crowd.
I didn't see him. I was there.
You did.
I did. I'm just kidding.
Whilst we're on Queen of Summer then.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Because I do actually, well, these aren't really memories. It's just that I wanted to say how much I really liked Queen of Summer. I think it's one of my very, very favourite Spray songs, which is
This is
strange.
surprising. You went on Rick Ward's thing, didn't you? The blender.
Yes, I picked it, didn't I?
And it's your favourite song, and I was very surprised. I didn't even know this. I had no idea this was her favourite, or one of the favourites of ours. So
It's because it's so atmospheric, and it is very I'm not surprised that we recorded it in the summer because it's very summery. It feels like warmth and sunshine and all that, and I just think it's a really, really nice song, and I like the harmonies on it as well.
Yeah, they are good. We put more effort into our harmonies back then, didn't we?
We did. We just can't be asked now.
No, we get AI to do it these days. But yeah. So that's Jennifer's rediscovery of it, or my discovery that Jennifer liked it during Rick Ward's show, was why it's been rejigged,
chosen for its special polishing.
The special polishing.
That sounds a bit rude.
It does sound terrible.
Yeah, it sounds a bit rude.
I'll edit that out.
Don't put that in.
But those are the three songs, and of course the fourth song on the EP is a dub mix of The Movie of My Life is an FX showreel. But that's I think. I can't actually remember if we have told the story behind the songs in this podcast.
Is there a story?
I don't know. I can't remember. You see, we can't remember 20 years ago. We can't remember what we did in the past half hour.
No.
It's great, this. Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. So hopefully you'll now go and listen to the remix EP, and hopefully you'll go back and listen to the original version as well to compare and contrast. Might as well. Nothing better to do, have you? The problem is, though, what we're going to call this podcast.
Oh,
because it should be a witty pun on our name, but also promise a lot more than it's going to give. And quite frankly, we've not given a great deal so far.
It's giving nothing. So what are we called? Spray.
That's right.
You want that?
Spray away.
Oh yeah.
Spraying hands.
Didn't we use that before?
Have we?
Spray away. That sounds like we've used it before. But I don't know. I might be wrong.
We probably have. I mean, this is our problem, you see, viewers. We can't remember anything, so we end up reusing our ideas, and then people go in, "Oh, you've reused your ideas." And have we?
Spraying for time.
Spraying for time.
Is that what's the saying?
Praying for time.
Is that right?
George Michael song, yeah.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking of.
But spraying,
don't put any of this in.
Spraying for time makes it sound like it's sort of a chemical podcast or something. from our sponsors at Dow Industries. So yeah, we'll be back periodically with more tales from yesteryear, explanations of how our songs came to be. It should be a masterclass. We'll call it the Spray Synth Pop Masterclass. That'll drag people in. And they'll think we're going to give great info and insight about synth pop or technology or something like that, and they'll just end up listening to us waffling
They think they're going to learn something.
Well, if we call it something like that, we can get guests in. We can get people in
to do masterclasses.
Not serious people. People we know. We're not going to get like good people. Did
we use spray list for something?
What?
Before.
Spray lift?
Because I'm... list. Because my thing says playlist on it.
Spray list. I thought you said spray lift. I thought, I don't understand what that is. A spray list, there is a spray list playlist on Spotify. That's the thing. Go on Spotify and listen to the spray list on Spotify, listeners. You'll not regret it.
You might.
But yeah, so there we go. Half an hour of waffle.
You can't put all of that in there. It's all dreadful.
Well, all right, 20 minutes of waffle then.
15.
This is probably going to be about 10 minutes, I assume, when you come down to it. Who knows? We don't know what we're going to be looking at when we get to this point. So thank you for listening this far. We'll be back soon with a much more professional sounding and exciting podcast from my friend Jenny McLaren.
Oh, and my good colleague Ricardo Autobahn.
Thank you very much. Cheerio.
Yeah, it's called Cognoscenti versus Intelligentsia. They are the Cuban boys.